Hello, I'm Father Scurti with Friends of the Word, the Weekday Word. Today, my guest is Linda Zani Thomas, and the topic is persons with disabilities. We'll get to that in a second, but first of all, I have to introduce Linda as a former student of mine at DePaul High School. Welcome, Linda.
Hi. It's so great seeing you again.
This is why you haven't changed.
Neither have you.
So, see, that's why we're
living the good life.
You got it. You and I met at DePaul High School. You graduated what year?
77.
77. Okay, I left there 78, 79 school year. I went to William Patterson. I was there for 5 years, and it was wonderful. I loved it. Did you enjoy DePaul?
I love DePaul.
And you met your husband there.
Yes, I did. Ended up marrying Gary Thomas.
That's great.
That class.
Yeah, I remember Gary. That's
great school.
Really. Yeah, we had a good time. We had
did.
a good staff, good faculty, and it was an excellent time. And now it's changed. The name of it is DePaul Catholic. Okay, so
all right, they didn't change it that much.
No, it's a little more sophisticated, maybe. Okay, Linda and I met through a common friend when the friend, whose name is Jean, said, "Oh, you should speak to Linda about it." Okay, it is the ministry I have had at the North Jersey Developmental Center for 30 years. The North Jersey Developmental Center served persons with disabilities, and there are several developmental centers around the state. In May, it closed, along with several others, and the population was condensed into lesser places, and some were sent to group homes. When I discussed this with our common friend, she said, "Well, you should meet Linda because she's involved with persons with disabilities," and that's where I'm going to leave it. How did you get involved with persons with disabilities?
Well, I have a person with a disability living with me, and that's my daughter, Marisa. She is now 25 years old, and she would be classified as multiply disabled. She is medically fragile, developmentally disabled, blind, has cerebral palsy, has never walked, and is maybe about a 2 or 3 year old in terms of her intellectual abilities.
Now, the population I worked with at the North Jersey Developmental Center spanned the whole spectrum. We had people who walked to church, people who read, people who sang and gave out pamphlets when we needed them to, and knew my name and knew the name of the staff, Jerry and Evelyn, the music ministers. And yet we had another level of the population in Mies, which is a hospitalized building, and they seem to have been the level of your daughter.
That is correct. And if you want me to describe them, I can show you where they would fall on it.
Sure.
Okay.
I think it's important that we educate our audience on what a person with disabilities is all about.
Yes, well, there's a lot of different disabilities, as Father Lou just said, that there are about probably about 43,000 adults with disabilities in New Jersey, and they are registered and serviced by the Division of Developmental Disabilities.
And your daughter would be one of those adults.
She is one of them. And I'm going to hold up this chart,
okay.
And I'll show. If this is the entire 43,000 that I have here on this bell curve, the population we're talking about is over here. It is 5% of the total population of all the developmentally disabled. So in this population are people with autism, people who have primarily behavioral needs, people who have Down syndrome, people who are working, people who are singing, people who are reading here. And then and 70% of them live at home or are considered living in the community. And then we have the 5% here who are medically fragile and developmentally disabled. This is the population I'm talking about.
Fragile, that's interesting.
Correct. So the population over at Misi was part of our population. They are very small in number. There are only 2,304 of them
in
the state of New Jersey, classified by the Division of Developmental Disabilities.
I want to let our audience know why we're focusing on this, besides the fact that these people are very special and need a lot of attention. Our faith, okay? And very often I refer back to the scripture or the Catholic Catechism, and today I'm quoting from the Catholic Catechism, that God established people in his friendship. Of all visible creatures, only man and woman are able to know and love the Creator. These people are the only creatures on earth that God has willed for its own sake and that person alone is called to share by knowledge and love in God's own life. Being made in the image of God and the human individual possesses the dignity of a person who is not just something, but someone. That person is capable of self-knowledge, self-possession, and freely giving himself and entering into communion with other persons. That's when I'm serving there, and I used to serve there and every Sunday and go to Nice frequently. It was hard to realize that these people, some of whom are just laying there, had this ability to be in communion with themselves, self-possession, and give themselves to others. And yet, those who served them were like this. They were connected with them.
Correct.
Because they read them.
Correct.
Tell us
Yes.
about that.
And I think this is the situation that this population is really facing right now. I agree with that. They do give back. You are reaching them, but people don't know that. And they almost are deemed, you mentioned the word thing in there? As
They're
a
not
thing,
things, yes.
As a thing that costs money to support.
Yeah, and that's
as
important.
a thing that versus a real person. And I'll tell you that I have seen severely medically fragile people that there is someone in there and they are capable of wonderful things. And they are capable of giving back. And that's why the staff there is so connected with them.
So dedicated.
Now, I mentioned 2,304 individuals. Only 22% of this group of individuals actually lives in the community or at home. So they are actually secluded, in a developmental center because of the great care they need, or they are actually away from the eye of people, so people don't know these people at all. I do because I live with one. So what I'm showing here is this 5%, or 2,304 individuals, popped out into a triangle. Where do they live, and what's going on with them?
And that's good.
Most, 1,020 or 44%, live in nursing homes. They are just receiving medical care. These are Medicaid nursing homes. They are not receiving any what's called active treatment.
No therapy?
No.
Really? Just laying
Correct.
there.
I am not sure what's going on there, so I can't say, but this is where the bulk of that population lives. Again, out of sight. That's why I'm here today. I'm reaching out to everybody who's watching to let everybody know about a population that's actually growing because of medical care that you might not know about, that are maybe returning to a neighborhood near you. Or I want to talk about us 505 families who are raising them at home, or 22%. Who are really on fumes right now. So I'm reaching out for help.
What does on fumes mean?
Oh, I'll get into that.
Okay.
I'll let you know what I mean about on fumes in a few minutes. Okay, so there's 505 at home. That's only 22%. Community, the National Core Indicators Project in the United States is aiming for an 80-80 community standard, which is that 80% of the individuals with developmental disabilities live at home or in the community. In our group, it's actually flip-flopped. 80% are not living at home or in the community. That's why nobody knows what we're talking about, and we have to always educate them, and that's what the Parents Group is all about.
And at a future show, you'll educate us about the Parents Group and the ministry and the work of the Parents Group.
Absolutely.
This has been so informative. We look forward to Linda returning at a future show. And keep tuned. Go on our website, and you'll see when it comes up. Thank you for joining us. Linda, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
You'll be back.
Thanks for the opportunity.
This has been Father Scurti with Linda Zani Thomas, speaking of persons with disabilities, God's special people.